What's up, y'all? This is Gemini Moon of Gemini Moon Astrology. Coming in with y'all, checking in another video pertaining to Virgo season because I feel like I just want to talk about it and I want to talk about what has been coming to me, what's been downloaded into me. So I don't know if everybody's having the same experience, but I find Virgo season to be very, very reinvigorating, very exhilarating, very, very like time snatching, really snatching your time. It's kind of like this feeling of in the gust of a moment, you know what I'm saying? In the twinkling of an eye, very, very, very like momentary, almost immediate, like knee-jerk reaction, like knee-jerk responses to things. It's very, during Virgo season, this is the house. Virgo represents the sixth house of service, and work, routine. It also, rules over the bodily functions of, our intestines, our stomach, The thing about Virgo is it's very mechanical. It's very, very much about the mechanics of life, like what makes life work. And when we say, what makes life work, it's about the fundamental appropriation of knowledge, in order to establish wisdom. Knowledge. Wisdom is the application of knowledge, and that is what Virgo leads with. It leads with the understanding, it leads with the understanding. It leads with movement, I'm saying? It's about the movement of things as well, moving, how we service our bodies, the foods we're eating, the habits we're engaging into as well, our daily thought pattern, It's not just about service to humanity or other people. It's also about service to ourselves. How are we best servicing ourselves, What are we speaking about on a daily basis? And I have Chiron in Virgo, which I'm just now finding out as, an up-and-coming astrologer, as someone who's learning the trade, learning the tricks of this trade. I just learned that Chiron is one of the rulers of Virgo. Chiron, the star known as the wounded healer, who could heal other people but couldn't heal himself. Now, when you think about Virgo and you think about it's goal-oriented, it's about, self-improving. It's about also, increasing, the blood circulation, the movement within the body, helping the movement within the body, to sustain and stabilize movement and change and making sure that it's about the function, Virgo is about how things function, the function of things, the function of faith and work, in the Bible, is a line that says, faith without works is dead. So where Neptune is the faith, Neptune is the faith, where Neptune is like heaven. Neptune represents heaven. It represents the hereafter, represents the dream, the alternate realities, the other dimensions, the heavenly realms, of the impossible, the expanded belief. It's about how can we live that ideal? Like, how can we live, the question that Spirit is asking, that, the angels are asking, is how do we live that kingdom? How do we live the kingdom of heaven, so to speak, You have to put in the work, You have to put in the work, meaning you have to settle into a certain modality, settle into a principle, finding a principle, finding a quote, finding a subject that feels good to you, and then offering that subject as the objective reality that you want to live, if that makes sense. We have Venus there, so I want to talk about Venus, our value, our self-worth, our possessions, our money, our relationships, the things that we love, the things that we pay attention to, how we attract. That is all Venus, the goddess energy. Venus represents really our love language. Venus represents the things that we desire It represents the things that we are willing to invest in, you know. And this is all depending on where Venus is placed in your chart, the type of characteristics you look for in love, and how the type of characteristics you look for in sex and romance, you know, things of that nature. Venus is in Virgo, so here is kind of like this refining and realigning of our values. You know, it's kind of like this feeling of taking the measuring tape and really measuring like the length of, you know, how much money is spent, the type of time, you know, and really applying different, I guess, measurements, you know, applying different, you know, applying, it's like really measuring how does all of everything that you desire and the things that you indulge in, how does it apply, you know what I'm saying, to the current reality right now? How does it apply to the current status quo in a sense, so that we can change it and fix it and stabilize, you know? And, you know, we have Mars there as well. We have Mercury and the Sun, all in Virgo. So this is really all about health and also the mind. You know, mental health is something that is coming into the program, you know. It's really about readjusting our program and also consolidating, you know, one another, consolidating your loved ones, you know, leaving space for things to mature and to grow and to manifest. You know, I feel, you know, like, you know, Mars and the Sun being there, you know, that positive, very impactful energy, you know. I'm hearing in my head brain surgery, you know. There's a very conscious shift, a conscious reenactment. I'm hearing it, you know, because I mean, there's so much I feel like I can go to in this video, and I'm just channeling intuitively right now. And that's the thing about Virgo season is that as realistic as our approach and logical as the approach is, it's still a season of intuition, you know, and allowing life and allowing the patterns and allowing, I'm hearing, the struggle or even the call to lead you, you know, that the call, the movement, you know, to lead you, you know. It's about allowing the current to move. And well, this is the thing about Virgo, is that it teaches you that, oh, I'll say what I'm learning is that life doesn't get easier, you get better. So life didn't get easier for you. Life is always gonna be life. Different flows, different folks, but same game. You know, you have to understand that life doesn't get better, you get better. Life doesn't get easier, you get better. So this is the thing about Virgo season. We're in the 6th house. You know, the number 6 is all about balance, the home, nurturing, harmony, you know. So we're fine-tuning things, you know. It's like getting your car serviced, you know, getting your vehicle, you know, refueled with the right fuel. That is all the things that Virgo rules over, you know, Mercury being the ruler of Virgo. So it's really about etching things in stone, you know, etching things in stone, finding the old tablets, finding the old scripts, and editing what's not needed anymore, what is not a part of the story, and then replacing that, copying and pasting that into the new document, the new format, you know. This is where our fundamentals start to change. Because you think about Virgo, think about Virgo. This is where people start school. This is like people are already in school right now. So there's a transition You know, you're gathering your materials, you're getting your books. You know, you're giving back the books that you had last year because that's not what you're learning anymore. You've graduated. So there, you know, Virgo, there's a sense of graduating. There's a sense of graduating and, you know, climbing the mountain too, you know. Shout out to OJC Astrology, a very, very popular YouTube astrologer, who even said, you know, if Taurus is the guard, or no, if Taurus is the mountain, and Capricorn is the mountain climber, then Virgo is the mover of the mountain. Virgo is very magical, and that's ultimately what I'm getting at with you guys, is that there's a lot of magic that can happen, you know. You have to understand, Gemini, so Gemini is the spoken word, is the communication, is the expression. Virgo is the materialization of that expression. It is the living word. It is the word manifested. So everything that we think, speak, and do has to line up in congruence so that we can have more abundance, so we can manifest what it is that we're working on manifesting. You know, so there's a lot of, I guess, just self-improvement and humanitarian-like improvement that we're doing, and it's all working to unify perspectives. You know, my uncle, who's a Virgo, you know, is currently at my mom's house, and you know, he's been through some things within the last few weeks involving the law. And he's a good man, but it's like he has a solid understanding of reality, but it's like, and not to get into like my uncle and his like problems, that's why I'm trying to stay general, but it's like when I listen to this man talk, I hear so much intelligence, but the sense to pull each of those puzzles and those pieces together and relate it to his unique life story, it evades him. Because, see, when you're so busy looking out there, and that's the thing about Neptune or Pisces being the opposite of Virgo, is that Virgo is what we look to. You know, it's like the higher ground, the higher self, the higher cosmic self, you know, that we look to through movies and media and television and books and video games and all those things that take us into an altered state of reality. And, you know, we can get so far caught up out there that we're not living in our reality enough to pay attention to the pieces that have been the pieces of the reality, you know, the pieces of reality that we need to look at, you know. You can only transcend so far to where you're just out, you're beside yourself, you're out of your body, you're out of your reality, that you can't even properly assess reality. And that is what Virgo season is helping us to do, is to properly assess reality and to cause shifts in consciousness, to cause shifts in routine, to cause shifts so that we can maneuver appropriately for the world that is being created, for the world that we want to create. You know, I find a lot of freedom in Virgo season. I find a lot of freedom in starting over. I find freedom in re-editing and staying in the present moment and counting my steps. Virgo has everything to do with that. I think Virgo probably is my favorite season now that I see it, you know, because, you know, I think about as a kid, when the first day of school would start, that's Virgo season. And just going into that time of change and transition and meeting new people, and, you know, I felt such freedom and such reinvigoration and just to refine myself and put on a new outfit. And, you know, it's kind of like taking everything in, you know, taking it all in, you know, and taking it as it comes, taking it slow, you know. Those are just some of the messages that I get from Virgo and the things that, you know, we're working to accomplish as a people right now, as conscious creators, as civilians of the galaxy. 2 years ago, I moved back home with my family, with my mother, my brothers and sisters. And that was that was 2017, when the South Node was Pisces and the North Node was Virgo. And, you know, that was like such a swallow, and it was like I had been swallowed up and spit out into a whole nother reality, coming from where I was living at the time and the certain situation. You know, Pisces is my 12th house, so that was a lot of my hidden desire, a lot of the things that was subconsciously, you know, draining me, a lot of things that I was going through in a subconscious level. I was having to deal with all of those things, indecisiveness, you know, being overly compassionate, you know, it was like my waking state, you know, it was like a waking state of consciousness, you know, becoming conscious to, I became conscious to my subconscious hangups. You know, Pisces is where we can find a lot of the hangups, you know, stagnancy, you know, emotion, you know, unreality, you know, depression, addictions, you know, things like that. And the North Node obviously was Virgo. So it was like the karma we had all reaped that year was the Pisces, the 12th house vibes. And it was like, that was when I was at my lowest. You know, I was at my lowest. You know, the 12th house peak is the evolution of the soul. And I had to come to a point of evolution and maturation. You know what I'm saying? But this point of evolution and maturation defied everything logical that people deemed, you know, as necessary and logical and truth. And, you know, Virgo is really where we can kind of come and bend the truth a little bit, you know? It's like taking what once was assessed as truth and now integrating it with another part. And so that's what I had to do, is I had to really integrate my own sense of truth in order to form clarity about a situation so that I could keep going and building. And like I had to adjust, you know, I had to adjust. So I just wanted to make this video and let you guys know that, you know, this is a season of adjusting. This may be a season that we don't necessarily like, because we see that we have to change, we have to manifest change, we have to manifest a new template, a new storyline, a new this, a new that. We have Mars there, so in Mars, there's new initiation, there's new beginnings, there's independence, you know, so this is going to press us, you know, press our buttons, get us motivated. The sun is there, offering some purity, holistic perspective, you know, a more whole, you know, where pieces of the puzzle can truly come together. We're seeing it all. We're taking it all in for what it is. So we're changing, we're shifting, we're navigating this reality, and we're going into higher states of consciousness and figuring out how to implement practical ways to initiate new consciousness. So yeah, peace, love, and light to all of y'all. I just wanted to do another Virgo season update. I feel like the last video I did was I wanted to say more. You know, there's a lot that I really want to explain, and you know, it's really soul invigorating for me to speak this way, and you know, to add what could be my observations, my intuition, my opinions, and just to, you know, be an open vessel. So thank y'all so much. This is Gemini Moon, and you know, I just want to develop a better rapport with you all, and yeah, set us all free. Let's all get set free. Let's all get set free into this new reality that we're coming into. You know, we just had the moon coming out of Sagittarius. It's now in Capricorn. So there's a new demand, there's a new supply, like a new avenue of supply and demand today. You know, it feels like, you know, supply and demand. I'm hearing like cash, 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 ching, ching, ching. We have to produce something. You know, now that the moon is in Capricorn, you know, the moon in Sagittarius had us dreaming into far distant lands, you know, had us seeing with new eyes. And now what we've seen, we have to produce it. You know, we have to truly, truly produce a new realm of reality, really, you know, produce, you know, and really mature ourselves to a point of I'm hearing grand. Like, it's really, really, really be the person that you want to be. The person that you see yourself as, be that person. It's very, very much that. So, all right, y'all. This is Gemini Moon Astrology. Thank y'all for tuning in. I'm taking off, y'all. Peace, love, and good vibes.